And it was Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I want to go over 4 options for finishing Invisalign or other clear aligner cases with no anterior occlusion or light, and it has light or unbalanced posterior occlusion. So if you have never seen a copy of my debond workflow form, it is something that I pretty much give away anytime I do a webinar or a class, or if you have done any coaching sessions with me, even if it's just a quick a la carte session. I give these away like crazy. If you've taken one of my classes, the phase 1 class or the Straightwire class, just send me documentation that you've enrolled in it, and I will be glad to send you 3 documents for any webinar or anything that you've attended. Obviously, the webinars need to be within a few days of the webinar actually occurring, not months later. But otherwise, all my documents are available for sale on my website, Straightsmile Solutions. Go to store. I don't have them all there. I literally have like hundreds. That's just like the top ones. But the debond workflow is a really helpful one for finishing clear aligners. I have one for braces too. But it's just kind of like an org chart, and it takes you through if this, then this, if this, here's your options. Helps you kind of get into the brain of an orthodontist anyways. But you know, I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm just trying to help you out if you want that document. This is pretty much the highlights from that form, not in an org chart manner, but 4 options for finishing that clear aligner case when you have no anterior occlusion. Again, no anterior occlusion. If you have an anterior occlusion, this does not apply. Okay, that means it can be, when you check with articulating paper, there cannot be on any contacts, upper and lower 2 to 2, 7 through 10, 23 through 26. Tap, tap, grind, grind. Okay. So here's my options, not necessarily in any particular order. A lot of it's going to depend on what the patient wants to do. I literally have individual videos on each of these 4 points. You can search by posterior openbite, Invisalign, or whatever terms. I have so much content on all this, so you can go more into each of these points in its own video within my YouTube channel, Straightsmile Solutions. Go for it, look for it. First one is just to wear the last aligner at night only. For a few weeks and check again. And to be honest, if they start relapsing, when I mean night only, that does not mean 6 hours, that means 12 hours, night only, night and home. That just means less. Sometimes either aligners can be really thick, or you can have somebody who has like a bruxism habit with strong masseters. It can cause intrusion of the posterior teeth. So by switching to night only, it can actually help to settle the bite. So it's an idea. You can give it a try. Worst comes to worst, if things start to relapse, well then maybe they weren't quite ready for retention yet, and then you just go back to full time. That tells you something. But that sometimes can lighten up the bite in the back. Give it a try, see what happens. Really nothing to lose from that, right? Second option is to do an upper and lower bonded retainers, upper 2 to 2, lower 3 to 3. Let the bite fully settle, check every few months. Every month or so to see when the bite settles. Really, there's no risk to this. The risk to this is that you could pop a space in the back. Well, if you do, then you're just going to have to do another refinement. You can always leave the bonded retainers on and refine just the back portion. What else can happen? You could get some rotations in the back. That would be the other risk. But again, if you're already wearing clear aligners, I'm assuming if you pop a space or if you rotate like a premolar and it bothers the patient, you could always just do another refinement. So once everything is good and settled and the patient's happy and there's no perio traps, then you could make an Essex over it, or you could take off the bonded retainer and then just do the Essex or Vivera. Obviously, you want to run that by the patient first. Not a great idea if they're going out of town, because if bonded retainers break, it's actually a big problem. Another option, of course, is just to refine. And lastly, you can make something called deprogramming aligners, which is basically your trimmed aligners, where just the front. I like to make them with extra attachments as well as lingual attachments, because I don't want these suckers popping off while the patient's sleeping and choking the patient. It's a liability thing for me. So I don't just take the existing aligners and trim them. Maybe in ClearCorrect you could do it because the trim line's heavier, but in Invisalign it's so shallow. Those suckers can fall off, and I don't want to get sued. So that's why I put lingual attachments on, so they're really nice and snug. Problem with these deprogramming aligners, and I have a lot of content about this, we use it all the time in MA, is that it's really easy to overcorrect and to cause an anterior open bite, and every patient's different. So you have to keep a really close eye on your patient. Like, cannot do it if they're going to be traveling, going out of town. When it's time to come in, it's time to come in. Like, they need to be super flexible. They also need to be willing to do either come in every week or so, or do virtual check-ins with articulating paper from home. So you got to pick the right patient for this last one. This is the most dangerous one in terms of causing the biggest problems. Everything else is really not a big issue. All right, so those are your 4 main options. As long as you don't have the anterior contacts and you're happy with the alignment, these are very, very easy breezy to do. All right, thanks.